Hello, welcome everyone. This is an interview for the Practive Magazine number 14 with Augusto Pinaud. Pinaud,
I'm a writer. I spend most of my time writing about productivity and writing fiction. Writing productivity because it's one of those things that I need the most. And because of that, I have spent an incredible amount of time learning how to be more effective, how to save minutes in order to gain hours.
right now, recently, Augusto published a book, and it's 25 tips for productivity, and it's an only e-version. So
Right
you can.
now, at least until December, is going to be exclusive for Amazon. And you can actually find it in paperback. It's available in paperback in the States, of course, Barnes and
So
Nobles and
anyway, I
Amazon.
just read the book. I really loved it, and it's a very down to earth, very 25 really cool tips.
Actually, this book had two experiments with it. This is the first book that I wrote first in Spanish, and then I translated in English. Even that the publication originally was first in English, and the Spanish version is coming soon. Uh, this is the first book I write in Spanish. That is my primary language. The other two I wrote them in English. So the first draft came in a week. I started the first draft in a Monday, and by Friday afternoon I had a first draft, and it was really fun to do.
You've read Getting Things Done way years ago, and once you've implemented many things, and you mentioned that in your book, many things become common sense for you, become logical things. And I like this chapter in your book when you question common sense, because what is common sense for you doesn't mean it's common sense for everyone, right?
I make the point, and I've been saying this for years, that common sense is the most uncommon of the senses, actually, because it really depends. You know, if you touch, everybody who has a feeling has the same feeling of touching. But when you talk about common sense really depend on what is your experience. And even if you mentioned Getting Sun, when you read the book, there is a part in the book that he said it. All these principles are just common sense, and I have always chuckled at that part because it's not true. It's common sense after you apply them, yes, but
Yes.
many of them, the first time you read them, it is like, oh wow! I remember to this day the first time I read about the 2-minute rule.
Yeah.
The 2-minute rule was something like, why I never thought about this thing. This is fantastic.
Yes.
And if you ask me today, yeah, it's common sense. But in 2003, when I read the book the first time, it wasn't.
Another point that you're making in the book is related to the video which I posted a few months ago, actually, on my Proactive show. When I showed how I can type without watching at the keyboard and at the screen, so that I can touch type and that I can do it really fast. And I thought it was common sense. I mean, everybody knows that you should learn how to touch type. I mean, this is. But after the video, everybody approached me. Yeah, I think I should learn this. Eventually, how to type faster. And you also mentioned that learning to type is the essential skill for everyone right now.
Well, the reality is, for good or for bad, all of us are sitting in front of a computer at least 70% of the time. When you talk about typing with people, everybody thinks they type faster than what they actually do.
Oh, yeah.
And it is the reason I put in the book, go online and do a test of your speed. You will be impressed. The first time I did it, I was. And people think that because they only do little things in the computer, they don't need to type faster, or they think they can go 2 fingers and go faster. Trust me, I did too. I resist learning to type for years because I only type five lines. Who I needed, and after I went and learned, it was really day and night a difference. To the point that I mentioned this on the book, when I got the iPad, and I'm like you, going mostly iPad, and the iPad was driving me nuts because I only can use it with a keyboard. And then I was like, well, if I'm only going to use the iPad with a keyboard, what is the reason to have an iPad instead of a laptop? And and I was on the point to get rid of mine when talking with somebody, he told me, why you don't get a typing tutor for the iPad? Again, one of those common things, right?
Yes, right.
And,
Common sense.
and I went, I got mine. I do I type really fast on the screen of the iPad? Not yet. I do around 60, 65 words per minute. And I understand that for a lot of people is incredibly fast. I can type 85 to 90 on a regular keyboard, so it's much slower. But it's at least a speed that I can work with. When I did the first typing test on the iPad on just the virtual screen, it was 15 words per minute.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then in your book, apart from the the iPad, where with the iPad, both of us actually, when we start to switch to the iPad, we are trying to simplify our setup, simplify our our file setup, our everything, and this is what drove me back to minimalism, to have as little clothes as possible, as little things in the office as possible, and even my recent changing of my home office. I'm going to get rid of lots of gadgets right now. So I really like your message there to really simplify things and also have a not to do list, right?
There,
So not to
I think
have
that
and not to do, right?
not to have and not to do. I don't. I'm careful with the use of the word minimalism,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason is because there is a lot of people who has get them to extreme, and that worked for them, and that's great. But I think because of those extremes, that is usually what other people read. People walk away from
Yes.
minimalism,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe people should simplify. I believe you should get rid of most of the junk you have accumulated over the years. And it was actually Patrick Rome who used the word enough. And the
Yeah.
first time I heard that concept, I say that's exactly what I want. It's not minimalism. I don't want to go to the extreme of the people who have 30 items, but I want only to have exactly what I need and no more. And it's been a difficult process because you are trained as a kid
Mm-hmm.
and growing up to collect stuff. Okay,
Yes.
because in a way, collecting stuff is a symbol of a status. Hey, if you have 3 cars, meaning you made it.
Yeah.
And if you can have 5 computers, oh look, you. And the reality is, no, you don't need the 5 computers. Then why have the other 4? So it gets difficult, and it really depends person to person. There is people who can live with 2 pairs of shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and there is people who need 5, and that is both are correct answers. The question is, what is your correct answer?
Yeah.
And after you discover what it is, then aim for it
Mm-hmm.
and try to get there. And on the do not do list, it goes exactly on the same lines. There is a lot of things that we do that we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. Can I design? This is something that I'm working right now. We're redesigning the blog, okay, and the web page and all that. Can I go and spend the time to learn WordPress well enough to do something that looks decent? The answer is yes. But how many hours that's going to cost me?
Yes.
In my case, an incredible amount. But if I instead of that go and discover, no, you know what, you should not work on your blog because you don't have enough knowledge for, and you don't have the interest to learn it for the future.
Yes.
So go and get somebody who have it.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned there reading. I love to read. Okay, I have a yearly goal of read more than 52 books a year that I have made since 2008 or 2009. Okay, every year I read at least 52 books. And one of the rules is if I'm reading a book and I don't like it, drop it. Okay. If I get to a certain point, and usually it's around 20% of the book, okay, and I don't get into the book and I can read it, drop it. Even I encourage people, if you get my books, okay, and you're 10, 15%, 20% of the book and you don't enjoy it, drop the book. Okay, don't finish reading it. It's not worth it. There is so many good books outside. Why you are going to waste hours of your time on something that is not worth it?
Yeah.
All my emails says on the bottom, sent from my iPhone. And they say send from my iPhone, regardless if I send them from the Mac, from the iPad, or from the iPhone. And there is a simple single reason. When I send you an email saying that on the bottom, and I send you just 2 lines, you don't think anything. You are okay. Doesn't matter if you are a modern guy like you or you are a more formal Fortune 500 person. You receive an email that says coming from the phone, and you are okay with the fact that the email is short.
Yes.
If you don't have that, people assume you send it from the computer. And if you send the same short email that was fine a minute ago, now that email is rude because it's too short.
Yes, 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 totally, totally. I like what you say that in these times the most important thing is not the time but the focus is what we need, and then for us the idea should be to maximize the focus we can get in the amount of time that we can get. Like the same thing, if you work 8 hours a day, you don't actually work 8 hours a day. So if you can get 4, 5 productive hours, this is a very good day, and that's what people should focus on, right?
You know, I don't think many people get 4 or 5 hours of focus a day. I think if people discover and work into get 2 hours a day of really focused time, the impact is going to have on their work is going to be incredible. I know more people who has less than 15 minutes of focus a day, okay, than people who had an hour. I have friends that they don't have that. Okay, you see their calendars and they're booked 2 or 3 times on the same hour. And you look at them and say, how you are doing? Well, I attend to one meeting on GoToMeeting in the computer, the other one on the phone, and the other one in the cell phone. And then I have the headphones and the phone. And you look at that and you say, it's not more effective you quit off all those meetings and make a 10-minute meeting.
Yeah.
But because of the environment they work, that's what is expected. That you are going to be booked 2 or 3 times per hour and figure it out. And on top of that, they need to do email. And on top of that, they need to do their work.
Mm-hmm.
If these people is able to see their calendar and really block 1 hour of real time, of real focus time, shut off the cell phone, shut off the email, and think. These people, instead of working the 60, 70, 80 hours a week they will be able to go to 50.
I also like what you said about your ritual, about weekly review ritual, that you're going to Starbucks, you have your special kind of coffee there and everything. And this is really something that I read recently about this theory of small victories. That when you have this, when things go, I mean, with the small victories, that you get the momentum, and when you get the momentum, you get things done.
I've been doing that ritual for years. It's a venti coffee. I only get it on weekly review. I may get other Starbucks during the week, but that coffee it's only on weekly review time. And if I do a second weekly review on the week, because that happens once in a blue moon, I get that same kind of coffee. But I do rituals with a lot of things because I have discovered that help me get in the mood much faster.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to think, okay, I usually get headphones and I get Beethoven Ninth Symphony with the Berlin Philharmonic and Von Karajan on the direction. I have tried others 9 Beethovens, okay, symphonies with different directors, different orchestras. It doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't make sense because if you think about it, it's exactly the same music, exactly the same notes. There is something about that album that makes a difference and help me to get into the mood, into the thinking mood much faster. And that's what I have learned about rituals. And if you discover what are those rituals and how you can make them effective and help you, you can do incredible things. And a lot of people has rituals. Some of them are conscious, most of them are not. But if you learn to identify what makes your ritual conscious and then push yourself towards that, you are going to be able to get in the mood and do things much faster. It's like people who do exercise. I had a friend of mine who he before he left to work, he get into gym clothes. Okay, what that has generated is that he is stopping the gym much more than before. Before he left to work or how to leave work going home, and he said, "Well, I'm going to stop in the gym." And then in the middle of the way, he was, "Oh well, I'm tired. Well, I go tomorrow to the gym." Now that he dressed up in the office and get shorts and jeans and shirts and sneakers and all that, he said that his improvement on stopping in the gym is more than 50%.
Yes.
Why? He's the same tire as he was before,
Yes.
but he's already dressed up. So he looked at himself and say, well, I can go now for 5 minutes and that will work. And it is a trick. It is something simple. It's a little ritual, but those little tricks and really make a huge, huge difference. And we talk about the iPad, and yes, I've been a big proponent of the iPad as my main machine. And one of the fun things I learned to write is I only write in plain text.
Yes.
Why is simple. If I open Pages, okay, or if I open a laptop and open Word, I start looking about the bold, the italics, the center, the margins, and waste an incredible amount of time that I don't have instead of me writing. On plain text, I don't have that option, okay?
Just plain text.
Just plain text. So my option is or write or don't write. But that simplifying that to that point, what has created is that I have been able to double my output on writing. And that was my goal.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And for many more small tips that make you more productive and help you get things done, check out Augusto's book, 25 Tips for Productivity, available on Amazon. And we'll have the link here below the video and also a link in the magazine. Augusto, thank you so much for joining us and for being the Productive Magazine featured person this month. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael.